What's going on, y'all? We back, man. We got a very, very special guest, the man, the myth, the legend, man. Everybody was in the comments tagging him, man, and then the ghost popped up in my messages, and I had to invite him on here, man. But please give a nice welcome to the man that brought two NBA legends over to Europe, which was a monumental moment that I don't even think they probably understood how big it was, and we're still talking about it here so many years later. But a nice welcome for my man Alexi Valavuori. What's going on, bro?
Oh, thanks for the invite, Anthony. I really appreciate of being here. Yeah, I saw the post of your channels. You posted about Rodman playing in Finland. It brought a lot of good memories. I gotta say, I was like 25, 26, something like that at that point. It's almost like 20 years ago. But yeah, when you posted that thing, I had a lot of messages from that because in Finland it's always a big thing if some Finn is mentioned abroad because Finland is such a small country. So I had a lot of messages, and then I was like, yeah, I gotta give a shout out to you, and it's more than nice to be here.
Nah, for sure, man. And we're gonna get into Rodman. We're gonna get into Pippen. We're gonna get into your role in Finnish basketball. Back then, but I'm just really interested because I think that bringing NBA star. I think you were forward thinking. I was reading some articles and I was translating all these articles, and I found some of the articles were being kind of negative about you bringing
Yep.
these guys over, for a game or two and things like that. Like, what was some of the backlash that you were getting back then? Because from my point of view, I think it's forward thinking, just thinking about the business model of European basketball, where ticket sales are important, merchandise sales are important. Like, it's not like the NBA, like where we just
No,
got TV deals and everything.
oh
So
man.
can you talk about some of the backlash you were getting, and what were your thoughts in even bringing these guys over?
Yeah, where to start? Hmm. Yeah, always wanted to do things differently, and when you mentioned about the business model in European basketball, especially in Finnish basketball, there is no fucking business model. Like, there've been quite a few many GMs and club owners, a lot wiser, a lot more experienced than me. Really successful businessmen, but I guess there has been only few who have made it like that it works continuously, and well, it's not going to make any profit. And as for being a GM, it sounds like a really cool thing. Of course, I was like 25 or 23, something like that when I first was a GM, and it was a huge opportunity for me, of course, and I felt like top of the world, and I had my first card, which I could gave, oh yeah, this is me, I'm a GM, yeah. But real life is that the GM in Finnish sports, especially in basketball, because Finland is a hockey country, ice hockey country first. Uh, so the GM basically does everything. Signs the contracts, uh, get the sponsors. Sometimes you even might end up driving the bus. Uh, you have to do everything, and as an ex-professional player that there ain't so many workers in the European clubs, especially in the lower levels or in the smaller countries. So you do everything. When Americans come in, you change the lamps, or
Yeah.
you help them to go to the grocery store. So that's the life of GM in Finland.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah,
Now, so let's start off with Rodman.
yeah,
So how did this whole thing? Obviously I read the article that you guys met at a bar. It sounded like it might have been at like a hotel or something like that. I'm not sure, but just kind of break down how you guys met and then how things progressed from there.
yeah. To start, you mentioned you had a good point that there was some negativeness and stuff like that. Of course, after my years with basketball, I've done all kind of things with sports and with media, and I always done it my way. So I have lots of lovers and lots of haters in Finland as well, and I like that. Haters, they give me the fuel, or how you say. But yeah, we were. It's a it was a really traditional Finnish, and it still exists. Finnish basketball club called Topo, Torpan Pojat, and I first worked with Honka in Espoo, which was by far the biggest and the richest club. I got a chance to work there first. My father had been the president of the club during the 80s and stuff like that. After a few years, uh, I had a chance to be a GM in Topo. They played in the second division, and they had went to bankruptcy, I would say 4 or 5 years before, and they wanted to come back up. So I started as a GM, and we started. I said, we're going to come back in 1 year, and we did that. And after that season, I was focusing a lot because basketball is not that much in media in Finland. It's really not. At the moment, it's been nicely because of our national team, the Wolfpack. We finally got to European Championship, even to World Championships. But the Finnish Basketball League, it's still not even close there where it should be. I was thinking, that what's the way to find the publicity and the PR, and how could we get basketball first time to big headlines? And I was thinking all kind of things, and then suddenly, I was young and I was going out a lot. I mean, a lot, like at least 3 times a week, and it was a Finnish nightclub called Kaivohuone, next to the sea, and we went there quite often. And we were partying there, and I was at the bar ordering drinks. I looked like this to my left, and I was like, okay, yeah. I was like, what the fuck? Big cowboy hat, and of course, I've been following basketball all my life, and Chicago Bulls and Detroit Pistons, but Chicago Bulls was a story of the 90s. And I looked, yeah, that's Dennis Rodman there. What the fuck? Like, am I really this drunk? It's like that Dennis Rodman is not in Helsinki, no way. But then suddenly I remembered that there was this headline that Dennis Rodman had went to some wife carrying competition. We have these funny, so-called funny things in Finland, all kind of competitions like wife carrying. So yeah, he was sponsored with some casino to be in Finland in wife carrying competition, and then I actually realized it's Dennis, and I said, that's my way always, because I treat people the same, either if they're huge celebrities or billionaires, or if they're bus drivers or anything. I go and talk to them if I feel like it. And I went to talk to Dennis. Dennis, hi, my name is Alexi. I know you. You don't probably know me, but we have this basketball club here in Finland called Topo. So, would you come and play for us? You serious? Yeah, I said, I'm serious. And of course, Dennis didn't know a shit about Finnish basketball. Maybe he thought that basketball doesn't even exist in Finland. I said, yeah, I'm serious. I want to come. You're going to play for us. But I need to know the budget. Then Dennis said, my agents are sitting right there. I said, okay, of course, okay, that let's go there and talk. Then we went there and talked, and they were as hammered as I was, and they thought it's a joke, at first. But then a few minutes after, we had these, what do you call these things that are under your glasses?
Coasters.
Yeah, under your pines. So after a few minutes, we were signing and making the deal, with those. And of course, I knew at that point, that Dennis Rodman, he cannot play a season for us. We cannot afford that, and maybe Dennis wouldn't even want to play in Finland. So at the end of the day, I asked, one game, what does it cost? And they said it's 100,000. And I thought just a few seconds, okay, we have a deal. And we had a deal. Like they went back to States, and a few weeks after that, we signed the deal, and it was a done deal. 100K for one game.
Okay. And now, so at that time, did your team have the money, or did you have to go get a sponsor to get that money?
We certainly did not have the money. We certainly did not have the money. Our our budget was around 500,000 per season. And in Finland, the league teams, they are professional teams. At that point, most of the teams were professionals. We had like 6 or 7 full-time basketball players. Well, the whole budget was like 500K, and maybe the player budget for the salaries was around 250, 300,000. So we did not, and I had to convince our board that it's a good thing that that Dennis Rodman is a name that will sell a lot of tickets, because usually the average spectators in Finnish basketball games are around 1,000. So with 1,000 tickets, and the arenas that the Finnish basketball is played, the capacities are between 1,000 and 3,000. So we needed a bigger arena. So I had to convince the board, and we had lots of negotiations before we signed the deal. But they finally, said, "Let's fucking do it." That my motto has always been, if there's a risk, I'll take it. Sometimes it goes not the way planned, but we're here only once, and we started gathering sponsorship. But it was such a short period. At that time, there was no social media channels or nothing like that, but it was all over in the news. It was the headline in pretty much all the papers, and we kind of, I think, it saved our season a bit, that game. So I think it left something actually more than that 100K.
Okay. Now when somebody, like, this is kind of like almost a too hard to believe scenario, and then you got a few weeks before he even arrives or whatever it is, like, from what I read, there was a lot of uncertainty if he would even show up, because I mean, Dennis is known to be a wild boy, and you never know what he's gonna do. So what were the nerves like around like his arrival date approaching?
Well, yeah, I remember the first headline, because when the deal was signed, and we had a press conference, and our captain and our head coach, they were like, "This is fucking insane. That what to do is, like, okay, let's do the press conference. Rodman, he will not show up. Like let's do it. He will not show up." And we had the press conference, and it was all of the news, and yeah. Coming closer to that date, I think it was 5th of November, the game, something like that, 2005. And everything was going smoothly, and there was like no issues at all before his arrival. And we went to pick him up. Dennis and his 2 agents with the limousine to the Helsinki Vantaa airport, and there he was. There he was walking out of the airplane, just with his sport gear on, and like nothing big happened. And of course there was a lot of media there, but before his arrival or before or during his arrival, there was nothing special happening. But during the days he was in Finland, there was quite a few things, before the game, that he actually arrived at the arena.
Right. So what was going on? What were some of the first things you remember where you were just like, all right, this is going to be a crazy 48 hours or however many hours?
Yeah, I remember picking them up from the airport, and we had a limousine, and it wasn't quite that good that it was supposed to be. So the fucking limousine, it got stuck to the first
speed bump.
Yeah, it got stuck. So we're stuck in Helsinki airport, and it's like down to the bottom of that. And my head coach, who was coaching me actually when I was a junior, he was looking at me, Alex, where did you bring me, man? And Dennis is there, and his agents are, I think they were hammered the whole 2 or 3 days there, and they are just laughing and looking at each other. But we finally we got over that. We went to the hotel, and during the first day, we asked that will Dennis participate to a team practice, but no, he wouldn't. He would not do that. So I figured out, let's do something else. So we had all kind of entertainment for him, and before the game night, because of course I've read a lot of stories of him playing and watching play, and when he disappeared to Las Vegas during the playoffs and stuff like that. So maybe we shouldn't change anything, and we just went out.
Now the fun starts. Now the fun starts.
No, we went out. We went out to Helsinki night, and it was crazy. There was a nightclub called Studio 51, which was owned by my friend. Um, we had a few tables there. There was a huge line of people waiting to get our table and just to sit on Dennis' lap. Uh, man, it was crazy. Yeah. We were in downtown Helsinki, and we stayed. Dennis stayed, and I stayed as well in Hilton, Kalastajatorppa. It's like 4 or 5 kilometers away from the center. We were hungry. We went to McDonald's during that night, and it was it was nice to see people's reactions, because they had the exact same reactions that I had at Kaivohuone when I saw Dennis. That is really, and at that time we didn't have iPhones and taking selfies. It was just like getting autographs.
Yeah.
Well, we took our food and at McDonald's, went back to the hotel. I went to sleep because I had to work the next day pretty early. Of course, Dennis had to work as well. He had a game day, but I guess he didn't go to sleep that early. Um, he had a big presidential suite at the hotel, and I guess there was quite a after party. I didn't take part of that party because I know I gotta take some sleep. It's gonna be a big day tomorrow, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Is he as I mean, I feel like at least the American media just paint him out to be this, this raving party animal. Was he as crazy as people think in regards to while he was in the club, or was he just more so just chilling and just taking in all the attention?
He was just chilling, and he was chilling and having fun. Uh, you know, I got to meet Dennis a few times after that as well, and for me, the time we spent together, I think he's a pretty shy person, and he don't like the attention that much. But when he goes to party and gets drunk, then he likes the attention. But otherwise, I think he's a pretty shy dude.
Mm,
That's kind of his role. That's kind of his role, which I thought always that, he's this kind of, yeah, let's go. But it was nothing like that, When those few moments that we stayed together, we really didn't talk that much. But of course, at the same time, you never knew what's going to happen next. That's what I learned from Dennis. That suddenly things can change.
mm.
At this point, everything is fine, but that at the next second, everything can be a disaster.
Okay. Okay. So how was the actual game day? How did that?
Well, the actual game there, yeah, it was pretty much sold out ice hockey arena, Helsinki Jäähalli, home of IFK, one of the most biggest and known sports clubs in Finland. The capacity is around 8,000. We sold 7,420 tickets. And that's still the record in Finnish basketball league.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a night to really to wait for. I don't remember that much from that day because I was so hyped as well.
Mm-hmm.
All the celebrities came in. Uh, Everybody wanted to be there. I had my phone, like you can just imagine the text messages and how much my phone ring all the time. And gladly, we had a good personnel. Uh, I had to mention one named Pia, who was our office secretary. She took care of most of the things. Without her, it would have been a fucking disaster. Because I'm kind of an artist as well, so
Mm-hmm.
I go with the flow. So yeah, there was a lot of people helping the club that day. Um, I remember I remember going first to the arena. I think it was around maybe 11. No, it was like around 12 or 1 o'clock. And we had a TV recording there. There was this big Finnish TV show, sports show called Se on siinä. It was one of the most famous shows at that time. And Dennis, it was part of his deal that he's going to take part of that as well. So we went there, uh, and uh, and there was a concert as well during that time, like pre-game concert 3 or 4 hours before the game. Uh, because Finnish people have a bad tendency to go to the games like 5 minutes before it starts, or even 5 minutes after it starts. We don't have the culture that we go to the games like you guys in States. You go to the NFL games like one day before, having a barbecue. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, we went there, and I guess Dennis or his agent hadn't explained him thoroughly what's going to happen. Because I still had the feeling that when we went to arena, like 4 hours before the game to have the TV show, Dennis was going to play the basketball game. And when he realized that the basketball game is like 4 hours away, he did that. He did his job. Once again, he did it. But when he realized what's going to happen, I remember he said 3 words: "Fuck this shit." Yeah, but he did that, and then we took him back to the hotel, and uh, we started organizing everything before the actual basketball game. And because it was an actual Finnish league game, it was an official game. Everybody thought it's going to be like an exhibition game or all-star
Mm-hmm.
game or whatever. No, I want it to be an official game that matters. Because I don't say I always hated the culture of exhibition games or NBA All-Star games. I used to love them
Right,
a lot,
right,
but nowadays I think it's total bullshit. It's
right.
it's like
It's a waste of time.
it's BS. It's like I don't even watch NBA All Stars game anymore.
Mm-hmm.
For me, that's not basketball. Back in
Mm-hmm.
the day, they used to actually fight in those games. But if I look
Right.
at the NBA regular season at this point, it's a circus.
Mm-hmm.
The game for me starts during the playoffs, and I love the competition. I want it that it's gonna be an official game. So yeah, yeah, the hours went really fast. And like I said, I don't. I was so hyped that but the first images I have in my mind from that day just before the actual game was that I couldn't reach Dennis.
Mm-hmm.
I, I tried to call to his phone or to his hotel room phone. I could not reach him.
How soon before the game was this?
It was really soon. The game was closing, uh, and it was like 45 minutes before the game. I
Mm-hmm.
still hadn't reached Dennis,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm not usually that worried. I have a tendency, like I say, I go with the flow, and things happen. Uh, but that time, I felt a bit of a pressure. Then, like there's 7,500 people waiting for one guy,
Yeah.
and that's me, my face as well. That if he's not gonna be here, and the last chair, because I think I accidentally I sold the VIPs twice, so there was like twice twice. Twice, twice too many people that there shouldn't be. And the last chair, I remember that the last chair of the whole ice hockey ring, like an extra chair to courtside VIPs, I carried to our president to come, Mr. Sauli Niinistö. He was our president for 12 years, not at that time, but after that. And I felt kind of pressured that what's going to happen if he's not going to show up. But I would say like 20, 25 minutes before the game, I finally reached him. I'm not sure if I asked the hotel personnel to go to his room and wake him up or whatever, but I reached him, and then he just replied that, yeah, no worries, I'm coming. And he
Mm-hmm.
came. He came to the arena 3 minutes before the tip off. So 3 minutes before the game was supposed to start, he came to the arena. And no one from our team had seen him before. Of course, on TV, but no one. We go to locker room with our head coach. Dennis arrives there. His jersey is there, number 91, of course. Just 1 minute briefing that our head coach Pekka Salminen said, "Guys, I guess you know this guy. He's Dennis Rodman." And then he said, "I was starting five, and Dennis, you're gonna start. Uh, just draw a few really simple systems. We didn't
Right.
play our normal tactics during that game. He just draw something there and really simple few screens and blah blah blah. That was it. And then I always remember the when they announced the teams, and I said to the announcers that I want to have it the same way that they have it in states, that you mentioned where he's from and all that kind of stuff. I
Yeah.
still have those. How do you call those?
Goosebumps. Yeah.
Goosebumps when I'm remembering that. The whole
Yeah.
It was like a dream come true when I actually realized this is going to happen. And I saw people. What I loved most in life always has been seeing people happy. Maybe that's the reason that why I was just with sports so much, because it doesn't give you any money in Finland, but when I see happy faces there, uh, and people are just like, this is actually happening. And
Hmm.
then he was announced, starting five from
Yeah.
from blah blah blah, number 91, Dennis Rodman.
Right. Nah, that's really cool, man. I think too I was speaking to another guy that was a GM overseas, and he said after they had won the championship in Australia, he said he saw a father hugging his son, and like that's when it hit him, like, yo, they're gonna remember this moment forever, and like that's something that you've done, like bringing Dennis, being out on a limb, being out partying, meeting Dennis, bringing him, like you created a moment that more than just the 7,000 people that were at the arena are going to remember. I mean, like I said, we're still talking about it, man. So
Yeah.
hats off to you for thinking outside the box and even making that happen, man, because that's impactful.
Thank you. Really appreciate that. And yeah, and in Finnish mentality and tendency, it's just like it's going to pretty normal routes and not taking risks and stuff like that. So that's why I always gets a lot of negatives as well when I'm doing something like
Hmm.
that, or whatever. I like to take risks, like I mentioned, and sometimes I failed. I failed, many times. We've
Hmm.
been in financial uh, troubles many times with basketball clubs, but that's not rare in Finland.
Yeah, it's
Simple the
part of the
money,
game.
simple the money in sports is just. But you have to go all in. And like I said, we're here only once, so if you don't even try, why you're there?
Yeah, no, for sure. And so like once the game was over, I'm sure it was like a weight off your shoulder and you guys got to relax. I was reading so one of the things I was reading a article and they were talking about how the after party, I guess both teams were there or something, and there was a lot of negative talk about how Dennis was with the women and all this other stuff. What was going on at the after party? Because it seemed like that, or at least the article that I read
Yeah,
was pretty negative about whatever happened after that.
yeah. Where was that article? Was it the Finnish article or
It was a Finnish article. Everything I read was Finnish, and I
yeah,
just
yeah,
translated
yeah.
it.
Yeah, I think I know the journalist who made it. I guess it's Raiko Häyrynen who made the article to Ilta-Sanomat, and for me it was funny because mm, and I replied to Raiko as well because his style of doing the articles are like, I don't know how to describe it, but I said, that I actually said to him that I know what kind of article you're going to make, and it's been 18 years, so make me look as stupid as you want, but I'm not gonna, don't want any harm to any others. So I can
Mhm.
be the guy to blame for. I don't really see what is to blame for, but it's still one of the most recognized events in Finnish basketball history. What comes down to Finnish league. So after party, I think it was like a normal after party
Mhm.
after whatever event. There was a lot of Finnish celebs. Everybody wanted to get in there, having fun. I was mostly hanging out with my friends there. I wasn't there. I had my I had my time with Dennis, so I get I have my piece of him. So I don't remember like anything bad happening. It's just like people partying really hard, and that's it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think I mean, that's normal, man. A basketball big event, guys is out. Like we all have our days and stuff like that. But no, no, that's really cool that you brought that experience
Yeah,
though.
and of course, Anthony, just like if a journalist does that after 18 years or in 20 years, when something has happened, people don't even remember all the things, so there's going to be a lot of rumors or whatever. But like what I remember, everything had more than a positive experience, and had the time of their life. One of the best. I still have people getting to me, contacting me, and especially after your article, you brought it up.
Hmm. Hmm.
It was seen in Finland as well. That thanks for that. That it was really something else.
Nah, man, for sure, man. Uh, so obviously Dennis came, left a big impact on the team, and then the next year you were instrumental in bringing Scottie Pippen over. So how did you orchestrate that, and was it easier, or was the board a little more open to it because of the success with Dennis? And like, so with Dennis playing one game, how much more did you guys gain, from like ticket sales? Like, what was the revenue, from that experience?
I think from Dennis' game, the ticket sales revenue was more than from the whole season. It wasn't like we made
Hmm.
many hundreds of thousands, but if I remember the numbers correctly, uh, the cost where, of course, we paid to Dennis 100K. Of course, there's a lot of other costs as well, organs, that kind of thing. But if I remember it correctly, for the club, that was around plus 50K the whole event, if I remember it correctly. So it was, and of course, it was for the future. Everybody knows Top Boys, the club is back. It was a lot easier to sell sponsorships and stuff like that. And of course, what comes down to the game, maybe my biggest fear was that Dennis looks like shit, that
Hmm.
he cannot compete. But it was vice versa.
Hmm.
He made 5 3-pointers. He scored 17 points, and people are really amazed that why the fuck is Dennis Rodman shooting 3-pointers? But of course, the opponent team tactics. They wanted to give Dennis the space because he wasn't known as a shooter. What many people forget, that
In Detroit.
Dennis was actually a hell of a shooter back in the day before NBA in college. He was a really good shooter,
Hmm.
and you know he showed
And
that.
in Detroit, he took like 263 pointers in his time in Detroit too. And like people see Dennis as like Chicago Bulls Dennis,
Yeah,
but
the
you
rebounder.
forget
Yeah,
Dennis before that was more offensive.
yeah, a lot.
You know what I mean? So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but when it comes to Pippen, yeah, of course, it was easier to open the doors after that. And for me, like I said, I grew up with basketball, and I remember the first games I followed NBA. We got them like we had only maybe one channel that we could see them during 80s and 90s, and we got the VHS recorders, and we got to see some of the games like week after. And I
Hmm.
was reading all the magazines we had. I don't remember what was the name of the like an NBA magazine, but we got that like in every once in every 2 months, and of course, I was reading everything. I was like studying NBA, NBA, NBA. And the first things I remember was the Lakers versus Celtics dynasty, uh, and I was following Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, of course, and Byron Scott and the guys. And I actually met Byron Scott. He was in Finland. We played a round of golf last summer, and it was
Hmm.
honored to play with him. But yeah, after that, when I was a teenager, it was all about Chicago Bulls. It was all about MJ. It was all about Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Tony Kukoc, and Horace Grant,
Hmm.
and those guys. So yeah, uh, my idea, to be honest, after Rodman, my idea was to first bring Pippen and then Jordan. But
Mm.
I only managed to do 2 out of 3.
Okay.
Huh, yeah.
Okay. So how did you get in touch with Pippen? Did you talk to his agent?
Through the same agents, yeah, yeah. It was
Mm.
pretty. It was pretty easy after that, and they took me seriously also after the first event.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe during the first event while they were in Finland, they were like maybe a bit arrogant and stuff like that. But when they saw what's going on in there, there's like this is for real.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, then I asked about Scotty that would he be willing to play, and at the same time I realized that Dennis Rodman is a ticket selling machine,
Mm-hmm.
uh, not mainly of his basketball skills, but because of everything happened outside the court with Madonna and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, for me, Scottie Pippen is even a bit better basketball player, part of Dream Team and stuff like that. But when we started negotiating the deal with Scotty, I realized that we cannot go to the ice hockey arena. We will not sell 8,000 tickets with Scottie Pippen. Probably not.
Right.
So lower the risk. We went to two smaller arenas and we played two games.
How much did Scotty make for those two games?
I think it was the same. If I remember correctly, I think it was pretty much the same contract that with Dennis, but divided to two games. I think he made around 50K per game.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I think he went to Sweden after, and
yeah, he played one game there.
he
Yeah,
played one game there, and I think he made 66,000. They said so. That's
yeah,
probably
yeah,
it's
yeah,
probably in line.
yeah. It was somewhere else. Uh, yeah, it was two games, but of course with Scotty, everything was uh, a lot more easier. Scotty actually took part of the game, the pre-game practice. Uh, he's one of the nicest sports people I ever met. He was he was like an old school superstar.
Mm-hmm.
He treated everybody so nicely. He was honored to be there. When we had the after party after those two games, he wanted to be the DJ. Uh, it's just he was a really easygoing guy, and of course the hype was there. And for the basketball fans, it was kind of a bigger event than Rodman. But for
Mm-hmm.
the other sports fans, or not even sports fans, the Rodman case was bigger. But Scottie Pippen, for basketball people, he's well, Rodman is a legend, but Scottie Pippen is he was one of the best players ever played the game.
Yeah, nah, for sure, man. And it's funny. I was watching the as I was editing everything for tomorrow. I was going through. I found one. I didn't find a full like finish game, but I found one of the Sweden games,
Yeah,
and I was surprised. And even with Rodman, when you think about it, like Rodman said at halftime of the game that he hadn't touched the ball in 3 months.
yeah,
And then Scottie Pippen, I mean, he was 3 years removed coming out of retirement, but you just see like just the natural feel for the game. Like even Rodman, just the passing and things of that nature. Like these guys are like their talent is like on another stratosphere, their
it
IQ.
it really is, and Finnish basketball league is not that bullshit that many might think.
Mhm.
It's actually a pretty decent
Right.
league. And there
Hmm.
have been some great Americans playing there first seasons when they come as a rookie, and then they ended up the EuroLeague, like Ricky Hickman, for example. I guess he was the EuroLeague MVP.
Yep.
So this league level is it's actually pretty good. Uh,
Yeah.
and you cannot just come. We've had some ex NBA players there as well, not superstars, but they all haven't succeeded.
Yeah.
But you can see from Rodman and Pippen the level they've been, and actually Pippen, uh, he was a crucial guy for the first game that we played against Honka. We won the game because of Pippen.
Hmm.
It was quite quiet during the first half, but when it came to crunch time, he started
He
doing,
made some
doing things.
plays.
He started doing some things in place that reminded me of those golden
Yeah.
eras back in the day. I was like, man,
Yeah. Now I think there's just this especially in America, there's this narrative that like, okay, okay, the NBA is what it is, but it doesn't mean that an NBA player is just gonna come to Europe and just dominate because it's not like if he was a bad shooter in the NBA, he's not gonna be a great shooter in Europe, and they're
that's
gonna give him those same shots. So it's like
that's a,
he's
that's
not
a
gonna
great
dominate
point.
in the same ways.
Yeah, that's great. And as we see right now, European national teams, European superstars taking over NBA. Because when I was a kid, It was the time one of my biggest idols and favorite player was Drazen Petrovic, who
Hmm.
tragically died just before,
Hmm.
just during the time he was an all
Yeah,
star.
he's peaking. Yeah.
Yeah, and European players were not that appreciated at that time. Sabonis, Marciulionis, Petrovic, Divac.
Hmm.
Mm, those guys, they kind of opened the door for Europeans, and after that came Dirk Nowitzki, Tony Parker, and the guys. And right now, if you take the top 5 players from NBA, there's
Yeah.
probably three Europeans.
Yeah, if not five, if not five from other countries at least,
Yeah, yeah,
outside
and
of the United States.
like you saw during the World Championships right now.
Hmm.
Of course, USA didn't have the best of the best, but
But
they had
they
a
still
quite
had all stars. They still had all stars.
yeah, they had a quite a decent team, and
Yeah.
and Germany beat them,
Hmm.
and won the World Championship in the final. Then, and actually, the German coach is a Finn as well, Gordon Herbert. He used to play
Hmm.
uh, in Finland. He's born in Canada, but he's more Finn nowadays than a
Okay.
Canadian. So yeah, European level of basketball, it's pretty damn good.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. It's been great to kind of just see the evolution, and and even going back to you and your career as a GM. I look at I've been in Europe a long time played in a lot of teams, and I've seen how different organizations have been kind of stuck, and this is kind of why we started Swish Cultures, is because I felt like the media and the highlights and everything was just centered around the team. And I'm like, no, this player had 30 points. I want to see his 30 points. This player had, this many points. And like, I just felt like the media needed a shift. And so, as I look around at teams, like I see like what Paris is doing and the London Lions, I can tell that they are forward thinking and they're doing things outside the box. Like Paris, they signed that rapper Sheck West a few years ago around the pandemic or whatever, and like obviously he didn't play much, but they probably sold $50,000 worth of merchandise. He did a concert there and things like that. Like I think that type of forward thinking is what European basketball needs to be more profitable, and you start getting more sponsorships and you can make more moves. So like I said, you were ahead of your time, man. And and I know everybody over there probably doesn't appreciate it because they want things to be like back in the day, but it's a new day, man. And you were 20 years ahead.
Yeah, thanks for that, and it's really a new day, and I love that the media set nowadays, because you can start your own media like you've been doing, and we're doing
Mm-hmm.
an enormously great job in that. You can find new ways of exposing the game
Mm-hmm.
on different things, and for me, the like you know what's going on in Europe. You played in so many countries. You know what's lacking and what's not. Uh, I think the biggest problem with the exposure and with the financial things in European basketball has been for the last 20 years or 25 years. It's because of FIBA
Mm.
and the fight with the biggest clubs. Because there
Mm-hmm.
used to be only one or two or three European competitions, everybody under the same roof, like in football
Mm-hmm.
or in soccer,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah,
like you call it in the States.
yeah.
But the biggest clubs, they were fed up to FIBA, and they separated. They founded
Yeah.
Europe, which founded Europe Cup and EuroLeague.
Mm-hmm.
So under FIBA, the International Federation of Basketball, there are only secondary or competitions, and at the same time, all the best Europeans play in NBA. So when you go and ask from Europeans that give us few names of basketball players in Europe, if you're a normal sports fan, you might come up with one or two names. Of course, if you're a basketball fan, you can name some players. But if you go to ask about any sports fans that name me a few football players playing in Europe, they're gonna give you 100 names.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. That European basketball should really get together. That how the best competitions could be under the same roof, and the fighting has to end. And I think
Yeah.
it's getting somewhere, because like the money, as being a GM,
Mm-hmm.
coming down to that again, it sounds great, but it's not like being a GM in NBA or not like being a GM in NFL or NHL or whatever. Being a GM in Europe, especially in the smaller countries, it's a 24/7 job that you don't actually even might get paid.
Hmm.
You try to make every single effort that the players get paid. You're always struggling with finances and stuff like that. And in basketball, we don't have a transfer market like in football.
Hmm.
Like for example, in Finland, if we sign a great American, if we find a great rookie American, we sign him for one season only. Because of the tax reasons, we cannot keep them for two seasons. If they
Okay.
do good, if we find a good player, of course they go to Italy, they go to Greece, they go to Spain, they go to Turkey, wherever. We get zero. If the same
Yeah.
thing happens in football, they get hundreds of thousands of finding the player or developing the player. But
Hmm.
the market it's not there yet.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. I didn't know that about Finland, and I think that it's important for the league to be able to retain good players, whether they be foreign or local, is huge for the league, for the country, and for the growth of the sport. You
It
know.
really is. It really is. And for me, there's always been like an issue, for example, in Finland and many other European countries, that how many Americans should be allowed to play in one
Hmm.
team. And
Hmm.
as I see it, that world is over. The world is open. It really doesn't matter what passport you held. It's all about your skills.
Hmm.
And basketball is a strange market. I think there is no other sport that one nation dominates. That out of I don't know how many. I remember how many thousands of players graduate or come ready to play as professionals from states per year. But the amount is huge to compare it to any other sport.
Hmm.
So basically, for example, the Finland, you can find a great rookie player from United States who equals a Finnish national team player. But if
Hmm.
you want to sign a Finnish national team player, you got to pay him 100,000 or even more.
Right.
For a rookie, you pay 2,000 just to get the chance per month.
Right. Right. Right.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So
No, that's.
it's a hard job for example. Well, let's talk about Finland. It's a hard job for the GMs as well. They want to have Finnish players, known players, and people get to know the names and stuff like that. But at the same time, they want to succeed. They want to
Hmm.
win the championships. And if you have same level player, American player, a rookie, you pay 2 or 3 thousand a month, and a national team player with all the side expenses, you play like 10 or 15,000 a month. It's a pretty damn easy situation to think who you're gonna sign.
Yeah. No,
You're
that's
too good, man. You Americans, you're too good.
no, I mean, I think the rest of the world, man. I think across the board, rest of the world is catching up. I see, a lot of foreign talent. It's funny. I was in Africa watching a FIBA U16 game, and there were some good point guards. And usually out of Africa, you're gonna get like wings and bigs. And I saw a couple really good point guards, and I was talking to somebody there. I was like, "Yo, what has changed? On the continent that a lot of these guards are starting to improve because I see the
Yep.
next generation of being guards." And then he was saying that like I think it's Instagram like these kids
Hmm.
are now able to see how other people are training and what they're doing, and now they're able to go replicate that on the courts. And it's funny because going back to when you mentioned the VHS, I remember watching the All-Star game on VHS and copying the moves of Penny Hardaway or
Yep.
Kobe or Jason Kidd,
Yeah.
and I would watch it and then I go outside and just practice the moves. And I feel like because of Instagram, social media, and just streaming in general, I think that now more young players are able to see how to make themselves better, and it's helping the entire world, improve. So, I think all the countries, all around the world are gonna start improving in basketball, which is going to be interesting to see, in the next 10 years.
It's gonna be really interesting to see because if we compare it to 80s or even 90s, the game, it was like a slow motion game, and
Mm-hmm.
the same pattern goes to every sport, that the athletes are they're just beasts at the moment. Their physical size and stuff like that. So it's a whole new ball game in all over sports.
Nah, that's a fact, man. But Alexi, I appreciate. Actually, I got one more question,
Yeah,
man. One more
let's
question
get
before
on.
we get you up out of here, man. What's the craziest thing you saw or heard a fan do while either of these stars were in town?
The craziest thing I saw. That's a good question. Because, like I said, during Rodman things, I don't remember that much. I don't remember like anything that crazy, to be
Yeah.
honest. If there would be, I would say, but I don't
Right.
remember.
Right.
I think one of the funniest things
Mm-hmm.
that was that even the journalists, they were getting autographs
Okay.
from Rodman and from Pippen. So nowadays, if a journalist would would go and do his or her job and get an autograph, it would be like a terrible mistake. But that time it was
Right.
okay, and I find that kind of nice, because Finland is a small country and we don't get to see superstars daily there. So that was one of the moments I remember that the
It's
journalist.
funny because I remember, I think I was doing research for the Magic Johnson one when he was in Sweden. I
Yeah,
think like one of his teammates asked for his socks or something. I think it's just
yeah,
funny, man.
Magic was they played. Magic was in Finland too. That was during
Yeah,
during '90s. Yeah, they had some kind
yeah,
of tour there.
yeah. And then he went to Denmark after, but
Yeah.
yeah, man. But nah, Lexi, I appreciate your time, brother.
I appreciate
And
Anthony getting here, getting the invitation, and I started following your Swiss cultures, and I hope how, how many followers you got? Like 500,000.
yeah, across all platforms, I think we're at like 1.2. We got like
In in
TikTok
in
and
in,
all
in,
that other
in in
stuff.
what period of time you managed to do this?
Yeah, we started in 2017.
Yeah.
2017, we started. We just grown organically, and
Oh,
yeah,
that's
just
amazing.
kept it going. Yeah,
That's
just kept it
amazing.
going.
Hey, I hope to meet you in person
Yeah,
one day.
yeah, for sure. When I can come down to Malaga, man, I'm gonna shoot you a message, man, and we'll
Oh, hit me up.
definitely, yeah, we'll definitely link up and get a
Yeah.
drink, man.
Yeah. Let's have a not a 3 point competition. I haven't been shooting that much.
I ain't been shooting either. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done with the basketball.
But I like to make bets. So you play golf?
I'm terrible at golf. I'll get
Okay,
out there though.
we're gonna have
I'm
a golf
terrible.
bet then.
I can swing. I can look. I always say my golf game, like it don't matter what club it is, it's going 100 yards. 100 yards. Every club going 100 meters, baby. That's it. It don't matter what
Yeah,
it is.
we'll figure out some kind of bet, because I like to bet always.
All right. Well, we'll get to it when I get out there, man. But I appreciate your time.
Yeah, it was really my honor. It was a
Yeah.
lot of fun, because I haven't been remembering those things, or talking with actually anybody about that.
Mhm.
So for me, this is kind of the first time as well.